All right, guys, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like a really good weekend.
Good. Yeah. Filled with like kid activities.
Oh,
like,
busy.
Yeah, she's a busy bunny these days.
My daughter had 2 birthday parties on Saturday and then a hockey game on Sunday, and Hugh had no hockey for the first time in forever.
Oh, that's nice.
It was really nice.
Dreamy.
Yeah, hockey is consuming for sure.
Hockey is consuming.
I don't have a hockey player, but I see people who do. It's
It's a lot.
consuming. So we've got a pretty great show today. Jane Renwick is on
So excited
on the show.
for this one.
Yeah. So chat with her about her experience. I don't know many people who don't know Jane, to be honest. She's been in this market for so long, doing multiple roles with really great developers. So, we're excited to have a really good chat with her.
Yeah, it's going to be great. You guys will love it.
All right, here we go. All right, hi, I'm Heather Lloyd.
I'm Kendall Taggart.
I'm Kaylee Kelly.
And you're listening to the Realtio podcast, a show where we speak to leading women in real estate. And today we're joined by Jane Renwick. Hi, Jane. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're really excited to chat with you today.
Me too. This is great.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
All right. So before we get started, I'm going to go through your bio, and I am going to read it because I don't want to miss anything. And I was thinking, I don't know that there's a lot of people who don't know who you are. So for those who don't,
sure there are lots of people who don't know who I am.
But for those who don't, we're going to take a little trip down memory lane. All right. So you have been in the new home industry and pre-construction industry since the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. During your career, you have focused on market research, product development, marketing and sales of new condominium projects and master plan communities. And you've led different development teams and also supported acquisitions and construction. When I was looking at this, I was thinking there's probably no better way to demonstrate kind of your impact and your experience and your scope of work in this industry, but to kind of read through your CV. So get ready for it. Here we go. So you started as the executive VP and editor of Urbanation. You then went to become the VP of the GTA for Ani Group of Companies. Mm-hmm. From there over to Chief Marketing Officer at Milbourne Group. From there, you went over to Diamond Kilmer Developments, where you were the Vice President of Marketing and Sales, followed by Freed Developments, where you were President. And then most recently, you were the Executive Vice President of Savoy Developments. And then today, I'm going to say perhaps is your greatest kind of adventure, is the President of Renwick Corp.
Thank you.
You are also one of the founding members of the Toronto Women's Networking Group, RED. And you are a mom to 2 boys, sister, daughter, wife, data nut, and perhaps serial home renovator, I think. So
that is very true.
Is that all true? Great.
Very true. Particularly the last part.
How many homes have you renovated?
Honestly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And I built 1, 6. So, yeah.
And so do you have like a certain person that you go to that knows you so well to help you with this? Or do you use different people?
No, I've used different people,
Okay.
but the last renovation actually of our current home, which we've actually been for 11 years, which still blows my mind because I was used to
it's a lot of moving.
renovating, moving. That was part of my foray into the business. We have used the same contractor for the last couple improvements, and we are just coming around the corner to finishing what has been a renovation that started in July 2024. So
Wow.
Cool. I remember we went for dinner one time, and you were saying that you guys were staying in a hotel because your house was getting renovated.
And we were in that hotel for 6 months.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. It was a condo style apartment. We had a kitchen and everything, but it was 6 months. And then we moved back into the house, and we were doing the equivalent of camping, mostly in our basement with a microwave and a fridge.
Oh my gosh.
And it's beautiful. I'm thrilled with it. We are just now doing some exterior work.
Yeah.
So it's the inside is, with the exception of one fireplace, done. And now we got to get through this last little bit with the outside. So yes.
And then
it's been a marathon. It's been a marathon.
And then the burning question is, are you going to move? Like, are you done?
So just this morning, I was chatting with my contractor who's up re-insulating and all the rest of it from the outside. And he's like, I'm reluctant to tell you this. And I'm thinking, oh God, like what has he found?
Yeah.
He's like, a woman came by, and I'm thinking, oh no. She wants to know if you want to sell the house.
And the wheels start turning.
What did you tell her? And he said, I gave her your name, and I told her to knock on the door if she was serious. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what she'd pay. I think the boys would have a fit. They're very, very attached to their home.
Oh, yeah.
I will eventually end up in a condo. I have condo envy on the regular.
I agree with you. I think I'm going to end up in a condo too. Yeah, I like that type of living. Not that I don't like my house, but eventually one day back in a condo, I think. So, all right. Well, I read through kind of your vast experience, but maybe you can kind of tell us where it all started. How did this journey into real estate kind of kick off for you?
Right. I mean, it certainly wasn't the plan. My family, my dad has been an entrepreneur since. Actually, I was talking to my mom about this. When I was born, he didn't have a job. He was starting his own business. So he was a serial entrepreneur. And although he passed away a couple of years ago, my sisters still run the main business. And I'm very proud of them. And it's a lifelong commitment when you are self-employed. Mm-hmm. I was working for my dad with my sisters, along with many high school friends over the years, because my dad seemed to employ all of us. That's pretty great. It was great, which also made it hard to leave. Anyway, I was working with him as I always did, after high school and through the summers of university. And I was living in the city with various roommates, and one of my roommates was Annie Shim, and her sister was Jeannie Shim. And Jeannie Shim at the time ran Urbanation. And so for money on the side, and I think we had earlier a conversation about how much money we all made in our early 20s, which wasn't much. So we were always looking for money on the side. We did the data entry for Urbanation, which at that point was the resales were printed out, and then we typed them into the database, and we also site shopped. So I did that for a few quarters, probably a couple years. Okay. And then they were looking for an analyst and asked me to come in and interview. And so I did, and I just went from one interview to the next, and I was doing a personality test, and I ended up taking the job. My dad told everybody it was on sabbatical and that I would be back, and I never went back.
It's a very long sabbatical.
It was very long. I know. I feel like I'm paying him tribute now that I'm out on my own.
For sure.
I feel like that's sort of the Renwick coming back through. But I definitely was bit by the real estate bug early on, and this is, I guess, my calling.
Yeah. Well, I think probably like a good mentor to have is like Jeannie Shim to kind of bring you into that.
And Eve Lewis. I've had a number of both male and female mentors over the years that have really helped me along the way and pushed me when out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Eve was certainly good at doing that, and I've benefited from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So then from Urbanation, you were over to Ani Group.
So I was certainly interested in flipping over to the developer side. Ani was a new developer coming from Vancouver to Toronto, and they asked me to start up their Toronto office and hire their team. I helped them through two master plan purchases of master plan communities, one at Bathurst and Fort York and the other one at Park Lawn and Lakeshore. So left Urbanation, started with Ani, and sort of hit the ground running. Yeah,
that's a pretty big shift from
it was
like
a
in
big
terms
shift.
Of roles and responsibilities.
100%. I will say that Ani hired young.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
The owners were young, so and the team, generally speaking, was the youngest team I have ever worked with. I would say on average.
Okay.
And a lot of ambition, a lot of people who were just willing to do anything and try it, and pick up the phone, figure it out, and that's what we did. We used good consultants.
Yeah.
I will say that. They were very good at making sure that they were using the right consultants. So you also, as we all know, learn from our consultants.
Completely.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of your career, you kind of came out and just kind of dominated. But, and you just mentioned that you started, like people trusted you to start their businesses for them. So what do you think they saw in you that made them believe in you? Like, what did they see in you? Like, I can see a lot in you.
Yeah,
but like,
I think I come across as capable, and I'm happy to wear many hats. I don't think, even to this day, no job is too small or too great. You know, I will, and I think that's important for anybody who, and it's who I want to work with. I want to work with people who will, sure, I'll make the reservation, I'll do this, or I'll, you know, stand up and give a presentation. Like you have to have range, you have to be flexible, and I think I have those things. And I was confident, maybe too confident at that stage, and sort of grew into it. But you know, I think they felt that I was responsible enough, accountable enough to lead them in the right direction. And it was also because of Urbanation, pretty well connected.
Yeah.
So, and that's what they needed.
I do think that confidence is a huge thing. Like I do think if you're confident enough, like people see that and they want to be around it, and they find it like it presents as being more capable.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
I will
Absolutely.
say, back to the family business, and I think this probably applies to most people who have a family business background. You end up with a lot of responsibility very early on.
Right.
And so you're doing things that are ahead of your years. And so when you're used to doing those kinds of things, it just becomes part of you. And you have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of things. You're privy to conversations about finance and things that, you know, normally in your 20s, especially if you're not just an employee, but just an employee, that you're not going to have that information. So I think you're able to engage in conversations that, you know, sort of maybe are punching above your weight at that time.
Right. Yeah.
And I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what would you tell people that are getting, or women or anyone getting into development or the industry, just starting out, to be that starter, like that person of presence that people want to hire to start those things? Like, what would you say to them? Like, what would be the number one thing that you would look for? Or if you were even looking for someone?
Yeah. Again, flexibility without hesitation. People who are willing to try things. And I think when you put your mind to something and you try it, you will get it done. It might not be on the first go, but you keep going at it. When I'm working with people on my teams and that I have over the years, and so I don't do that, or I can't do that, it's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
It's, you know, just don't say it. Get it done. And at the same time, think of all the things you'll learn.
Yeah.
I love people who just want to learn and who are curious and who are willing to take a risk and give it their all, I think, and speak up.
I think it's interesting you talk about like confidence. I was talking to my son about confidence this weekend, and he was like, well, I don't want to be cocky. And I was like, well, there's a big difference between being cocky and being confident. And like cocky really comes with like ego and thinking you're above something or that you're better than everybody. But confidence is exactly that, somebody who's like sure in themselves, willing to learn, absorbing around them, and willing to do all the things, I think. So yeah, I think you're right that it's not about ego. It's about like being able to absorb their surroundings and take that forward with you.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is I've always prided myself on being a doer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
We love a good
not just
so
that
you love
you
a good
do
doer.
it. A doer.
We should say that.
You
You don't do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Be careful.
I did see a thing that said like the most successful people are the people that actually have a problem and they don't expect other people to do it.
Yeah.
They figure it out themselves. They're the ones that are like, I'm just going to fix it. I'm going to do it. And those are the people that are successful.
Well,
and
probably to
thrive.
Jane's point, it's because those are the people who are learning everything along
Yeah.
the way as they're doing it, which just makes them more successful. So,
Totally.
yeah.
And not afraid of failure either,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you've had such a diverse career.
But I've had failures. Like
Absolutely.
like,
we all have.
and project failures
Yep.
and things that I'm like, oh my God, I can't, you know, but you get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you always learn from it. Like you always come out
You learn
better
more.
because of it. You know,
learn
which
more.
It's hard to see in that moment,
Right.
but you absolutely do at the end of the day.
I've often said that about when the market was on fire. What were we doing right? Well, you could say we did everything right.
Right.
Yeah.
There was no metrics. There were no metrics. So we couldn't say, was it the product? Was it the price? Was it the location? Everything was just flying off.
Just all worked,
Which
yeah.
makes it very difficult in times when it's not so great to sort of say, this is the lever we need to pull now, because there aren't any metrics for it. It's just
Right.
And so I do, now we've all had to work very hard for our sales. And so the effort you put in, you say, oh, that didn't work. So we won't do that again. I could tell you, I once did radio. I will never do radio.
I am with you on radio. I was talking to an agency about this the other
Guilt that I
day.
carried of spending that money.
I know.
I will never do it again.
The agencies love radio.
Oh.
I personally have not had much success with it. However, I support those who've had success. That's just not my
I would love to know who's had success at
Yeah,
it.
I don't
anyway.
know. So kind of continuing on your journey, what part of the development process, because it seems like you've kind of run the gamut, like what part of it is it that you think you enjoy the most or have felt the most, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for, like proud of perhaps?
Right. I would say the product development,
Okay,
the actual
yeah.
design. In our case, it's mostly mid to high-rise buildings,
Right.
but definitely getting into everything from the lobby design, the amenity design, and the suites, of course.
Right.
I really spend a lot of time thinking about the suites and the livability of them, which sometimes haunts me. You try and get it that 90% of your suites great. There's always some that don't work out.
Yeah.
I have yet to see a perfect plate.
I don't think it exists.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I really enjoy that because it's creative, and I really try to visualize what it's like to live in those spaces. And one of the things I love doing with the team is doing that sort of visualization of the walkthrough of in the plans of, how is somebody going to approach this from the street? How is somebody going to approach it from the underground? What's that experience of moving through the building, and how can we make it better?
Right.
And is it rational?
Yeah.
Is it rational where you're getting your mail? Is it rational? Are you making eye contact with, if there is a concierge, somebody? Yeah. So I really do enjoy that. And then, of course, seeing it created. I do like construction. Hence my renovation stuff.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
I do like construction. I was actually on a hard hat tour this morning, which was a super interesting project. But I would say the product development and then seeing it come through.
Yeah.
Would you say that your thoughts and how you design products today is different than what it was a few years ago? And what would the differences be in what you're designing today?
Yes. And because I'm designing now for myself.
Yeah.
And I have, after many years of buying condominiums and keeping them, in the beginning I did buy and I did assign and I did sell, sort of first-time investors. But we have kept, and so now I could probably check my phone right now, and I probably have 3 messages from 3 different management companies about how buildings are running and where the pitfalls are and what's happening with amenities and what's happening with maintenance fees.
Yeah.
And I think even learning through just this down market, which to me is we're at 3.5 years of a down market, I'm focusing on quality, efficiency, because I want these to be long-term, well-run buildings. I love automation and technology, so having that in the buildings, which of course those things have to be updated over time,
Yeah.
but I'm tired of seeing maintenance fee creep. It's really upsetting for me. I'm tired of seeing amenities either not used or abused.
Yeah.
And I do believe that we're in a culture where the gym that we can provide in a building is not going to be the LA Fitness, is not going to be the Pilates, studio that's around the corner. And I think it's important that people get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sort of engage in their communities and in their neighborhoods. And so my plan is to take that space and bring it back into the units and have more saleable area in every building, less sort of amenity. And I think we went too far with the amenity. I do. The city would disagree with me.
It's a lot
The
of
city would
space.
disagree with me, and they do.
Yeah.
But that is something for sure that I have been working on for the last 4 years is trying to reduce amenity, particularly in large projects. Large projects is just you end up with spaces that what are we going to program this
a lot of
space
lounge
for?
space all the time. Yeah. I do feel like there's a lot more focus on what people are using. Like I know a lot of the time when we're looking at it, it's like trying to get away from just another lounge or another seating area,
Right.
and how do you make it something that is actually
meaningful.
really usable, meaningful. Yeah. So, and I think, work from home certainly
Yep.
did change that quite a bit. I don't think we were ever really looking at co-working spaces the same way that we do, and just how much space is dedicated towards a co-working space.
Right.
Which I have to say, I think
It's changing again.
It's changing again. Exactly. So yeah, I think it's hard to always get it right. Like you said, like
Agreed.
there's no perfect floor plate. And I think what we design in one moment may not be perfect by the time we go on sale with it, but perhaps in 10 years from now, it's perfect again, kind of thing. Like
Agreed.
You can't always be right on it. There's
Right.
cycles to it all.
I think flexibility in the amenity space is important too,
Yeah.
where you can change the size of spaces. Like
Yeah.
we used to do really big
Yeah.
party rooms, and then everybody would have their party, and it would feel like no one showed because the room was too big.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing better than having, you always want more people that can fit in a room. That feels like a good party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so having partitions so you can have multiple things happening at once, or just smaller. I think, dinner parties, and maybe the biggest thing that happens in a party room in a condo is a baby shower,
Yeah.
which is 20,
Wedding showers.
25
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and we were
true.
building these big spaces that
Yeah.
just, didn't create a vibe.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they move forward.
Yes.
Well, and also you've developed and worked on projects that are across the city, and especially with your experience with Urbanation. So I'm curious to know, what's your favorite submarket in the GTA?
Yes. My favorite submarket right now is North York. Submarket is breaking up the Toronto CMA or GTA or GTHA into segments, and each segment sort of is a market in and of itself. Yes. So Yorkville, downtown core, downtown east, downtown west, so that you have a more in-depth view of looking at each neighborhood and how it trades and what product and price. And so it's...
And I was going to say, there's not always, for anybody who has worked in Urbanation before, there's not always rhyme and reason to the boundaries of it necessarily. It can be a little bit convoluted.
Yes,
but,
that's true.
But they are very good for isolating.
Understanding, yeah.
Understanding different data within those specific areas and
100%,
neighborhoods. Yeah, for sure.
And
I'm sure there is rhyme and reason. I'm just guessing.
But the thing is, the city changes. The city changes.
It's so true. You're right. Yeah.
Because back then, a city place was in downtown west, and naturally it should be in downtown west. But because I think there's like 30 buildings that are part of City Place,
Right.
that ends up being its own submarket.
100%. Yeah.
And they don't. You're not. If you're looking at City Place, you're not looking on King West. You're not looking at a Freed building.
Yeah.
So those deserve to be two separate submarkets.
Yeah.
But originally they were not. So as the city grows up and you have areas that have, are lucky enough to have successful master plan communities take over, they end up changing the market.
Right.
And anyways, submarkets are, to me, are a very easy way of understanding the market. And even North York has many. So I think North York City Center is great. Even going north along Yonge up to Steeles. There's a lot happening at Steeles, but for a long time, North York didn't see a lot of investment. There have been some great projects in recent years, but it doesn't compare to downtown. And I feel that it has two subway lines, and Yonge Street needs a facelift. And nothing does that like critical mass.
Yeah.
So
That's right. It's true. So bring it on.
Yeah. It needs some more great restaurant. It needs a Tironi. When Tironi gets there, we'll know
it's all happened.
I love Tironi. Yeah. It needs that. It needs that.
It's true.
So, I'd say North York.
Okay.
So if you were going to build your own development, like I'm sure maybe you'd say it'd be in New York or North York, but like what would that be? Like what do you think the city needs? Like is there anything new that they need or anything that you've learned like you can integrate in something that's already happening?
I think it needs a better balance between low rise and high rise.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. I think and I don't know if this stat is true. But it's got to be pretty close if it's not, that 85% of new construction in recent years was in high-rise development. And that's not surprising.
It's not surprising.
Given we started building and it's got 550 units, that's 550 starts.
Well, didn't we have the most cranes up in the
Yes.
air? And I don't know if it's North America or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
for
I think I
a
read that
number of
too.
years.
Yeah.
Of years, yes. So I think we went too far on the multi-res side. And you had a lot of low-rise developers getting into multi-res, whether mostly high-rise. There hasn't been a ton of mid-rise happen for what I think we see as obvious reasons, it's hard to make mid-rise work.
It's a challenge.
It is a challenge.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more policy to support tall mid-rise. That works. But this 6-story stuff does not work. There's too many fixed costs, soft costs, especially if you have a better chance, I think, at rental because unfortunately the marketing costs of getting a condo going are just, you end up with too many dollars per unit to get it sold. But I think we need a better balance between the two. Yeah. And I think that's happening, funny enough. But land is expensive in the city, which is why we see multi-res.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting now we're seeing more buyers that are wanting mid-rise. They don't want to be in a high-rise. They don't like the idea of being, in a unit or a building with 500 units with 4 elevators that take forever. But it's just interesting conversations that we never had before. Right. And now the buyers are saying, I don't want to be in a high-rise. I want to be in a mid-rise where I know my neighbors and I know the concierge and it's more of a community. Right. That's what they're looking for.
But I think we're seeing more end users now.
Totally,
exactly.
100%. Yeah.
Which is also why the market's slower.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful to talk about end users, but for the condo market to restart, we need the investor to come back.
Yeah. They're definitely gun shy at the moment.
Yes.
I would say so.
For good reason.
With good reason. Yeah, it's just going to take some time for sure.
Yeah.
But I was going to reference we had Jasmine on the show, and she really speaks highly of mid-rise, specifically stick-built, which is, I think, what she sees across Canada and obviously is challenging here in Toronto. But her big push is definitely like more mid-rise. Like the reason she likes stick-built, which when she kind of spelled it out, actually made a lot of sense, is it works for the end user because the construction time is shorter. Yes. The costs are less, the price is better. And she said, they see them like selling in Vancouver. Oh, geez, I see that fly.
Yeah.
we have another guest.
And Calgary.
In Calgary, exactly. Yeah, but it is something that we just don't really explore here, really. Right. I mean, with good reason. I think that there's, resources.
But I don't think you see that form, or at least the last time I was in Calgary, and Ani back then did 6-story mid-rise as well. Wasn't in Vancouver proper. It was in the outer. So it's that back to that 15-minute cities or these, small towns on steroids, emerging cities type stuff that you'd see that, which is probably also appropriate for the depth of the market.
Yes.
For the apartment market.
Yes.
There too.
Absolutely.
But I don't think it solves a Toronto problem.
I don't know if it necessarily does. Like, I think also she spoke about how much land we have here in Toronto as well, which, makes it more possible for there to be more kind of sprawl in terms of where people are developing rather than isolating to like a city core kind of thing. We have more kind of city cores to kind of what you were saying with North York.
Yeah.
So, So, so kind of shifting gears a little bit, you've been to many different places, different groups throughout your career. Is there maybe a common thread that brought you to each of these companies that you worked with? Was it relationships? Was it the job itself? Was it new experiences? Was it the projects you were working on? Was it totally personal?
No. Well, 2 of my jobs started with me working for Newco. So I've had 2 Newco jobs, which is, come and brand us and again, hire the team, get us going.
Right.
And I think that is something that, again, that entrepreneurial bit comes through. And so I'm trusted with that sort of responsibility. It's also very project oriented, and I'm a project oriented person.
Right.
There's sort of a beginning and an end to it in some ways, and then you go into not maintenance mode because you always want to be in growth mode, but once you get that first bit started, the brand established, your identity and what you're going to build and what your sort of mission statement is, and then you do your acquisitions that fit within that, you do hit a point where it's just, okay, we're a real thing now, and let's go.
Yeah.
So 2 of them have been that. I would say my move to Freed was in part to represent everybody in this room.
Thank you.
And a big impact you made.
I got a lot of attention over that, maybe too much. But it was a great experience, and I'm very thankful to Peter for trusting me with that position. And there aren't very many female leaders across Ontario or Canada that have that role. in the construction industry, which is essentially what we are all in. So I was grateful for that. And then again, Savoy was one of the NewCo experiences. And I think it's, the decision to leave Savoy was more about me and about the market. In all honesty, I didn't want to miss a bad market.
Yeah.
I think this is a great time for someone like me to start their own thing, because there are opportunities available that otherwise wouldn't have been available to me if the market were on fire.
Right.
Totally.
And so it's just sort of seizing the moment. I'm at a particular agent stage of my life where it's a now or never moment. I got a couple cycles left in me, and we know how long these cycles can be. Mm-hmm. So I just, I feel very ready.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite role been?
Oh, that is a really good question. I like being a leader.
Yeah. That's a great answer. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do. I like being the team lead.
Yeah.
I think sales and marketing will always be really close to my heart. And, it's never out of mind for me. If I'm looking at sites and I happen to be doing an assembly right now, I'm forever thinking, who's going to live here? Whether it's, and I want to make sure that it's appropriate for rental or it's appropriate for condo, whatever the market may be. Mm-hmm. But, because I was on the floor like you at times, or like you, and sort of speaking to the buyer and understanding, thinking like, what is the psyche here? Because if there are no buyers, what's the point? Yeah. Or if there is no demand to live in this area, what's the point? Mm-hmm. I think that's something that this market, because rising tide floats all boats. There was a lot of fringe projects that, I drove by one in the east part of the city, and I thought to myself, I actually said to my husband, I'm like, this project would not have happened in any other market except the sort of COVID market.
Yeah.
Right.
It just, anything went. And I think a lot of those projects or those land acquisitions that happened during that time that were on the fringe are probably in a lot of trouble right now.
Right.
Because it's sort of that return to location, quality builders,
sweet mix,
sweet mix,
size, like
real transit.
Yeah.
I think we took some liberties with selling transit oriented. And so, things that are, like things go together, and multi-res and transit go together.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So,
It's exciting.
It is. It is.
Is there anything that you want to tell us about Renwick Corp, or anything you can, or you don't have to?
I've got a plan A, which I'm working on right now, but I've also thought of the plan G. So, I do want to develop. So, I think I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, so you're consulting now?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not consulting now."
I actually feel it's important you say that, because we said consulting.
Yes, that was my mistake. I'm sorry.
That it was not consulting. It is.
But that's that there is a plan.
Yeah. So maybe we don't take it right off.
I'm not retiring. I'm not retiring. So I will make money, and I do have kids, and I want to contribute and all of that stuff. But I also I did in the past. I did do this is when I was working for somebody else, and I did declare that it was a conflict of interest, but I did do an acquisition. And I don't think I gave myself enough runway with it, and I really want to give myself the proper runway. And, so selfishly, I'm thinking, my God, if the market, kicks off next spring, that's not a ton of runway, so I've got to get busy. And I have been busy, and I've been working every day, and I am excited about like I said, one of the things I've got going on right now. So if it comes to fruition, I'll be very busy, because I'm right now a staff of one.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure it will. Congratulations.
Well, don't
We're
say
so
it yet.
excited
Don't
for
say
you.
it yet.
It's gonna be awesome.
Don't say it
I actually
yet.
feel like that ties right back to the beginning of our conversation, where you said like you have failed and like learned and then come back and you just keep trying and you will succeed, kind of thing. So it sounds like you had kind of gone down this path before and learned a few things, and here you are again. Kind of thing. So,
and I think it just, I'm sure we all have that sense that it's just, this is It's time to do things differently.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think we've said it in every podcast we've had, so I hesitate to say it again, but there is no playbook anymore.
Yes.
There was a very definitive one, and now there really isn't. So it's almost refreshing that
Yeah.
doesn't exist because, it allows for more imagination and creativity overall.
Agreed.
So.
And challenges are invigorating.
Yeah.
And so you got a new energy, and it's nice to have energy when the market's flat.
Totally.
Because you can get really wrapped up in it, and it can be very tough. And I certainly don't want to minimize it for those that are in it, because it is very difficult.
It is tough.
And I know there's a lot of people, developers hanging on, hoping that it's, or trying to figure out the rental thing. I heard a funny line, and I actually verified it, but that all condo developers are looking to rental, and all rental developers are looking to student housing. So I was like, should I just be doing student housing? But
I've heard the first part of that. I don't think I've heard the second part. That's interesting.
yeah, ask around.
Yeah.
I'm going to start
If you
now.
verified it, I think we'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I believe you. Yeah.
I'm like, oh. Anyway,
But it is, I think it's nice to, you're right, it is extremely challenging for many people on many levels, this market overall, but it is refreshing and nice to hear your perspective on it in terms of kind of taking this market and finding the light in it. Kind of, you hear it all the time of like investment advice or just advice in general, like kind of hitting the market when it's low so that you can kind of rise with it. And I think that seems to be what you're doing. So it's just nice to hear a positive story.
Yeah.
So
Although I would also firmly believe that nobody can time the market.
nobody can time the market. Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
something else that I want to touch on that you had said earlier was, and I said it kind of on our way over here, which I just kind of sat with me over the last few days, is you said nothing's really that hard, which I actually thought was a really interesting thing to hear, and also like a bit of a good mental reminder that I guess maybe before I go into like you explain what you mean by that when you said it.
I think when you get into things, like the hardest part is starting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so once you start and you start working through and, step one leads to step two, you realize that it's not that hard.
Right.
You need to have commitment. You need determination. But I don't think there's anything in life that and I mean this in a work world, because certainly things in our personal lives and there are challenges that people face that are very difficult to overcome. But in our lives, in our day-to-day and what we do, it's all within our ability.
Right.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Just do the work.
It's that confidence kind of shining through when you say something like that, which I think is really nice to hear, kind of thing. So, yeah. Do you guys have anything else? Jane, do you have anything you want to ask us?
One, I wanted to commend you. I think this is great.
Aw, thank you.
It's and it's very comfortable.
Oh, good.
You have a great chemistry, and I think it's clear that you work very well together, which is, one of the other things that gets us through these tough times is strong teams.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And ability to trust one another and rely and on each other, which is incredibly important. I think women are very good at that. I did watch your first podcast, and I thought it was great, and I thought all those things came through. And of course, you each are experts in your own way, and I think there's a reason why friendships also sort of bloom out of these things. We worked on a project together, Heather and I.
So true.
And you sort of recognize things in each other, and it's sort of this natural trust and respect. I think maybe that's the big one, is respect.
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
I think we're really pretty lucky.
Yeah. We say
Yes.
it a lot.
We do say it all the time.
Yeah.
We love a good love fest.
Yeah, we do.
There's a lot of great people in our industry.
There really is.
There
I mean,
really
that's
is.
kind of what this was born out of. Like, we meet all these really great people. I mean, we'll say predominantly women for the sake of this show. But yeah, like you just want everybody to know them. You just want everybody to know how great they are and the power and the intelligence that they have. And so, like, why not bring it forward to the mic?
Agreed. I think it's unique
I
how
think so.
collaborative we can be as an industry.
Yeah.
And cheering each other on, and even when we're direct competitors, we competed across the street from each other. We were competing for the same sales when sales were scarce and difficult in the St. Clair and Old Weston Road area, and yet we were cheering each other on. And I think the most important thing about the market is mobility.
Yeah.
It needs to move, whether that's resale or new sale or low rise or high rise. We need mobility in the market. So you get a sale, that means I'm going to get a sale, and vice versa. It's
Kaylee says it all the time. Like, competition's great. We love the competition.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't have to yell quite as loud.
yeah, exactly.
But we will be peering in your windows on occasion to see what's going on.
Just ask. Just ask. Yeah. And that's back to full circle. That's what I learned about urbanation too. I mean, certainly there are those that would, happily provide information, and there were others where it was pulling teeth, and others that we had to site shop clearly. But anyways, it is, we do tend to rise together. Which is
it's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Both literally and figuratively, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, we have 3 rapid fire questions
Oh.
for you that we're going to cap things off with.
Okay.
The first one is, what podcast are you currently listening to? If you're listening to one.
Yeah, the Decibel. I usually listen to that on a daily. It's the Globe and Mail's daily. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I would say that.
What is your next trip that you're planning?
Oh, if my husband were here, he'd say it was a ski trip.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, we have done, actually, we've been very lucky and done trips to Europe the last 3 summers. So we did Portugal this past summer. So whether it's, I don't know. Next year will be interesting because my son, like I said, my oldest is in grade 9. So we'll see what his summer looks like.
Yeah.
And then it'll sort of maybe dictate how much time there is to travel.
That was
You know
like,
what I
we're gonna
am
do
doing
it.
this weekend to talk about trips? I'm going to the June Motel
Oh, you are?
in Kimberley for the first time. I've driven by
Did you
them.
watch the documentary on Netflix?
You know what? I didn't. I'm tempted to.
Do it. Oh, you'll love it. It's all renovation.
Right.
You'll love it.
Right. Yeah, so the one in Kimberley, we're doing a weekend there.
That's
Yeah.
so
So I don't know if that
fun.
counts as a trip.
I think
Totally it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We went there for my sister's bachelorette. Like, it would have been a year last weekend. It was so, yeah.
It's fun.
We had, it was really nice.
Yeah, I bet.
Are you going family or
No,
girls?
this is. It's all couples.
Oh, nice.
We've arrived.
You have.
I feel like I'm like out of the cloud of having young children where we can go away for a weekend.
That's very nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Can't wait for those days.
Oh,
We still have a few years to go.
yeah.
Although I'm pretty sure Harper could like babysit other kids.
Yeah.
And like, she probably takes better care of us than we take care of her.
Last question. What is your favorite way to spend a Saturday?
Not painting,
Okay.
which is what I was doing last Saturday or 2 days ago. Probably either up north, so skiing. We're a big skiing. We do have one snowboarder in the family. Or at a cottage. So outside, enjoying nature.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect weather these days for
Oh
that.
my God, today I feel like it's one gift after
I
the
know,
next.
right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. Thanks, Jane. Thanks for joining
you.
us.
This is great.
This was
Thank
a great episode, so thank you.
And if people want to find out more about you and Renwick Corp, where can they
They can
where
go
can
to
they find you?
renwickcorp.com.
All right.
That's probably the easiest, and my contact information is there.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. All right. Well, that kind of concludes this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're looking to follow us, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, or on YouTube, and you can follow us on Instagram at @thereal.to podcast.